All right, so part two. Um I've been working on this tune for some time now, and I have a couple of thoughts in terms of what I showed in the previous part for you. And possibly the most challenging thing about this is the obviously the stretchy chord, right? Uh, but with the right technical approach, I think it's doable. And what I like usually focus on in this kind of very stretched distances and open strings ringing underneath is the like general shape and sitting position, because they're crucial. So in this particular case, I think that there are like two things that need to kind of look right before they sound right. And first thing is the elbow. You need to get it as close and as parallel to the guitar neck as possible, because this will give you the furthest distance. No matter how stretched your hand is, it will always help. It will always improve, because we're using sides of fingertips to fret these notes. So it's a slightly different thing than the usual technique. Another thing is that the forearm and palm and wrist, they need to remain relatively flat. So there is no flex in here. It's not the other way. It's fairly flat. So what I would think is that this is something that needs to remain as flat and as natural, almost like literally even on the tabletop. And if there is any way to reach further, it's always about pulling the elbow slightly closer to the body, or just keeping it parallel with the neck. So sometimes shifting guitar neck may help. Not necessarily. It's like not a primary thing, but keeping your palm and forearm flat and elbow a bit closer may help a lot. So also possibly fingering this very first chord, starting with pinky, anchoring the weakest finger, the one that goes, the biggest distance from the index finger, might help. So just practicing it by stretching it from its weakest point, and when it's anchored, it may be easy. But again, whatever works for you is right. Okay. Let's have a look at the further section where we left off. Okay, so we had this first and second ending. And now we have a relatively simple B section with this little arpeggiated chords. So the concept is fairly simple, because I have this interval of tritone here, 6th and 7th fret, and 2 ringing open notes, and it's all in the order of the strings. So just as in the notation, it's 6th fret on 4th string, open 2nd, and 7th fret on 3rd string, and open 1st. And of course, I want to let them ring, so I have my fingers arced so that they don't dampen the first open 2 strings. Now I move the shape one fret lower, in its 5th and 6th fret this time, and same story. Same order of the strings. fourth, second, third, and first. Now here's a slightly different thing. Now I have a diminished triad. So it's fourth, second, first, and open. So the lowest note follows chromatic movement, but what's happening on top is slightly different. So one more time. Okay, these are these three first chords. And this is, here is the last one. And for the first two, any two fingers will work because there is not much going on there really. So for the third chord, we need to figure it properly. And now this thing is slightly trickier because I have my strings ringing underneath, so it's third, second, open, and fifth with pinky, but I will have to play third fret in as the melody on top. Okay, so there's nothing really much to it, and again we have a regular A section again. That's why I noted it as A3. This is just like the second time with second ending. So okay. And then it goes to the okay, I need to get my, yep, that's the one. Okay, so here's where the fun starts. Couple of great licks in here, and it may seem like it's getting more complicated with every turn of the form, but in reality these are very brief transitions, and they usually kind of go back to the main idea of the song. But this one is useful. This one is nice. And it sounds like it's way more complicated than it really is. So on the previous page, it starts with a slide, and what I have in here is it's a kind of C6 shape. So it's A, C, and G. So it's 7th fret on D string, 5th fret on G string, and pinky on 2nd string on B string. So it's there, although when you look at the notation and at the tab, it's not that obvious because first notes are kind of not there. So the A that I'm bouncing off appears later in the bar, although it should be anchored before I even start playing, and that's the sounds. That's the downside of playing strictly from notation, because it's like the idea is of having a chord that has a pull off onto open string. So what I'm doing in here, yeah, that's what I meant here. A4. Okay, I'm holding 5th and 8th. And 7th fret on D string. So these are my notes, and there is second and third string at the same time. Pull off with index finger. And then there is a roll with fourth string. That's the general idea. It sounds better in tempo. So that's roughly what's going on in here. I tried to break it down so it's maybe clearer, because I'm aware that on the video it looks like my hand is just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, and it kind of is what it is. But what's happening in here is, so I'm doing the pull off with my index finger from 5th fret to open string. So it's second and third string, pull off, same thing. Then 7th fret on 4th string, again second and third string, pull off, 7th. So it's all in the rhythm, all in the phrasing. And the way that lick moves is, it's just a top note. After every repeat of the phrase, as you can see, there are 2 bars sounding like this. So these are these 2 top notes with G on top. Then it moves half step down to F sharp, and that's here. And index finger is doing exactly the same thing. So we can just play those 2 interchangeably for now as an exercise. Then it moves. It's exactly the same thing. It's just about choosing what finger you want to use to play this F sharp. I would possibly go from pinky to ring finger. Although moving pinky half step down is would also work well. But you know, this is what feels more natural to me. Okay, so it moves from G on top to F sharp on top, and then it moves to F major shape here. So from this shape to this shape, I need to regroup my fingers, and then I'll use a ring on 4th string, middle finger on 6th fret of B string, and index finger is on G string, where it was from the very start. And finishing of this phrase is same as the first ending of the H section. And before we move to the melodic run, I want to review the whole thing, how to make it work. So that's the first one. Shift on top. Now the whole thing shifts. And ending. Okay, so That's the whole lick, and well, in tempo it just works nicer. Okay, now, and that's gonna be the last thing for this video part, is this melodic run in here. And I have my unpopular opinion on not on this particular one, but on the finishing run that is in here, but I'll get to that in a second. This one here. It's just a major scale going from top E to open E. So easy to memorize because these are two same shapes, 12th fret, 10th fret, 8th fret on first two strings. Then there is similar thing on two middle strings. It's 10th, 7th, 10th, 9th and 7th. So it's 10th, 9th and 7th on 3rd and 4th string. So when we stitch it all together, then there is a slight difference, 10th, 8th, 7th, and on the 6th string. So it's like going through three shapes, but every single shape repeats itself on a pair of strings. Now the key thing is rhythm, because as you can see up here in the notation, these are all equal 8 notes. Apart from the last three, which are like dotted quarters, so they're way slower, right? I would highly recommend just to practice this more slowly, but to keep it as even as possible. Now, the tricky bit is, these are 8 notes, but on a fretboard they're in groups of 3. But musically, they're still groups of 4 notes. So it's just very important to know where you are in a bar. That is da 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 dee da dee. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now the last note. Last note, I put it as an open string. Many players just do it on the 5th fret. Whatever really works. Same pitch, doesn't really matter. Chet played it on 5th fret. Now, in terms of fingers, what I do in here is I start with middle finger, which is kind of not what they say should be done, but I don't really care, it works for me. So I just kind of work my fingers in parallel, so if there's a group of 3 notes descending, it's middle, index, thumb, middle, index, thumb. Which isn't really a default situation. Sometimes I go just index, thumb, index, thumb. But it really depends on tempo and on the sound I'm going for. but I tend to keep my picking hands regular if I can. Usually start with index, but so it's index, thumb, middle. Again, this is not crucial as long as nothing gets in the way of fingers to pick the right notes. Okay, and now the last lick. I got it. I got it with two versions of fingerings, because I watched a couple of guys playing Cascade, and it seems like everyone used the same tab for some reason. I have no idea where it comes from, but everyone seems to set a trap on themselves with this last run here. And what I mean is that it's a simple melodic run going kind of back up from where we came from. Right. We ended up on A, and we're going back from A. But now, the way it can be fingered on the fretboard is either the hard one but very regular, or very, very easy one and smooth sounding one. I made the transcription just by listening to the audio slowed down, and on Chet's version, his interpretation of the record sounds very smooth, and to me it sounds like and there's no attacks in between notes. So I assume that he went for so for it's up here. It's sorry. That's the one. So that's the version that I came up with. It's just open fifth string, 7th 8th fret on E string, and it's like the same thing repeating on the consecutive pairs of strings. And the ending. Anyway, this is the easy way to play it. I like to do a little slide in between those notes. Before I break it down further, I want to show the version that everyone plays, and I have no idea why everyone tends to make their life unnecessarily complicated. And this is this version of fingering. And funny thing is that I see plenty of people covering this tune, and everyone tends to fall apart on this on this particular section. I have no idea why. The only person that I saw on YouTube playing this and not playing this fingering was Chet. There's a TV broadcast when he just played in closed position. So I assume that possibly it must have been someone transcribing Chet's recording, and it was like official published notation, and everyone kind of followed it without really checking how actually Chet played it, I believe. Or maybe Chet played it this way on a record, although it doesn't sound like it is. So this is that's the trouble. Anyway, I'm gonna show you both. So this is the hard one. This is the unnecessarily hard one, but it's quite a regular one. So again, it starts on A, open 5th string, and then it goes 7th and 3rd fret, held together on 5th and 6th and 5th string, and there's a open string, and there's a 3-ring roll. So open, 7th, 3rd, open. There's like a sequence. And then there is the same sequence of notes and roll, just 1 string lower. And again. That's kind of the whole thing. This is my version. Oh, sorry. So instead of doing these skips and stretches, which are actually very easy to miss, so whichever version you choose is right. These are the same notes. I believe that Chet actually played it slightly differently than what's here, but it's also useful. I think it's slightly unnecessarily complicated, and possibly I would play them interchangeably depending depending which how would I feel if it's secure to play one or the other. This one is possibly more prone to not work in certain tempos, and maybe I'm comfortable in this one. On the other hand, this one is regular. I'm also looking at the apart from the run, this part. It could be also done in here. Instead of 5th, 3rd, and open, it could be 10th, 7th, and open E. It kind of serves the same purpose. Okay. All right. So this is all I have today. I've sent you the PDF file on the messenger with this particular notation, and we'll have a look at some more nice stuff that this tune holds for us. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again, and I hope they'll be of some help. If you got any questions, of course, fire away, and I can break it down further if you wish. All right, take care and stay well. Bye.